obviously. And we were talking about quite a few different things, but there's one thing that I said in there, like near the end, I was like, man, listen, anybody can get into PT school. And as Casey and I, right before this recording, we were kind of talking about it. And I think, it's very easy to say anybody and everybody, but I think sometimes there's certain questions about that as pre-PTs that we have, and certain fears where that lead us to feel like we're the exception. And that's what we're.
Yeah, it's one shot. Now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the night with the.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How you guys doing? I hope you're having an absolutely amazing Thursday evening. For those of y'all that don't know us, my name is 𝗖𝗧 𝗦𝗵𝘁𝗄𝗎, and this is 𝗖𝗑 𝗦𝗵𝘁. We are the co-founders of 𝗲-PT Grind. And our job is to help you get into PT school without having to waste a lot of time and money guessing and really doing things that you could avoid in order to get yourself to your dream of becoming a PT. So every Thursday, Casey and I come on here live somewhere between 9 and 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you would like to catch us live every single week and even ask questions, just join us right here on our 𝗲-PT Grind Facebook page. And tonight we have a topic that's going to be important for somebody listening, right? Like it's a very important one for somebody listening. And it's really based off of something we said last night. Last night, Casey and I had the privilege of speaking to a pretty cool group of pre-PTs in California, virtually, obviously. And we were talking about quite a few different things, but there's one thing that I said in there, like near the end, I was like, man, listen, anybody can get into PT school. And as Casey and I, right before this recording, we were kind of talking about it. And I think, it's very easy to say anybody and everybody, but I think sometimes there's certain questions about that as pre-PTs that we have, and certain fears where that lead us to feel like we're the exception. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. If I'm an applicant right now, yeah, Casey and 𝗖𝗧 say that, getting into like anybody can do it, this, that, and the other. There's this many students, 12,000 students that get in every year. But there's something about us internally that leads us to feel like we're the exception. And so that's what we want to talk about tonight. We're here to talk to the student right now that feels like they might be the exception, that feels like, even though everybody else has a good chance, maybe because their grades or whatever, what if it's not me? What if I find out that this is not going to be my reality? This is not going to be my dream, that I won't be able to be a physical therapist, and serve people the way I've always dreamt of serving them. So Casey, let's dive in, man. Like we say like anyone can get into physical therapy school, and we believe it. But now let's talk to the student that kind of asks the question, like, can anybody really get in? Like, is this, is it anybody with a high GPA? Is it anybody that somehow just gets good at the GRE? Is it just like man, like let's kind of break it down and help that one specific student, that student that feels like, man, like I might be the exception somehow, like I might be the outlier, and I'm scared of going through the application process and discovering that. So what would you say to that student, man? What are your thoughts about that overall?
Yeah, basically how I think about this is that everyone can get into PT school, but not everyone really will, because it just takes a person that has certain attributes to kind of change their mindset, to start thinking differently, to make sure their actions coincide with what they're thinking to get in. So basically what I'm meaning is, when I usually get messages, and when we usually get messages, we got one today on one of the platforms, and it was like, man, PT school is so competitive. I heard I need every edge I can get. And I'm like, well, everything in life is competitive. I'm like, okay, what do you expect? If everyone, could easily get a six-pack, then everyone would. If everyone could easily do whatever, everyone would. Everything is competitive. So don't succumb to that and use it as an excuse and use it as a cop-out to say, oh, I guess I can't get into PT school, woe me. Like, no, be competitive. If PT school is competitive, be competitive. If PT school needs whatever, get that. If a certain percentage of people get into PT school each year, be in that percent. Strive to do that and don't strive to be the opposite. Because usually when people hear like, oh, there's only 10% of people make this much money. Only this percent of PT school get pre-PTs get into PT school. And we automatically run from that number and run to the majority. Oh, it's only 5% up. Let me just run back and be in the 95% instead of saying like, wait, actually, I could be in that 5%.
Yeah.
Why don't I figure out how to be in the 5% and run head first so I can be in that 5%? So I can get into PT school or whatever that percentage is. So yeah, everyone can get into PT school, but not everyone will. And I think when I was thinking about this for a few seconds before we went live, I think we need to start putting like a blank in between everyone can get into PT school and put like an attribute there. Be like everyone, well, I can maybe say it like this to make it make more sense. I guess not everyone will get into PT school, but everyone who's blank will and can get into PT school. So everyone who is lazy probably won't get into PT school. Everyone who succumbs to being scared of certain levels of expectations will not get into PT school. We can fill that blank with anything on both sides. So if you want to get into PT school, you might have to start thinking of it like everyone who's disciplined will get into PT school. Everyone who's ambitious will get into PT school. Everyone who's not afraid to, take an extra year, take some more time, or everyone who's patient can get into PT school. I think maybe we need to just start putting a blank there to make it make more sense. I don't know. But I think that can help people kind of grasp the fact that what we mean by that is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can get into PT school, but like, let's make sure you're the type of person who's willing to do that.
Yeah.
Because the people on the other end of the spectrum who run from those certain numbers, who say, woe is me, who say whatever, and make excuses, then their chances of getting in is just like a hope and a wish, because having hope is like a shitty plan. I saw that quote somewhere like last year. Like, oh, I hope I can do it. Like I've been in the stock market lately. I'm really into finance stuff. And what they say there when you're placing, certain investments and stuff is like, hope is not an investment strategy. When you put your money into the stock market and you just, hey, I hope it's going to go up today. Like the market does not give a care. The PT school market, the DPT school market does not care. If you have a certain plan and a strategy and you thought this out, then that's what's going to get you to your goal. So I guess everyone who's blank, I guess my point is everyone who's blank can get into PT school. So that's my thoughts.
Man, you better say it again. In live, we have Leanne, we have Jasmine, Madison, Shantez. How y'all doing? Great to have y'all here. But Casey's right on the money. Like I want y'all to see it as this. When y'all hear that statement, because it's true, like it's 100% true. Like anybody can get into PT school, right? But I think sometimes we hear that and we're like, yay, like, yes, I just got to do stuff.
I am somebody.
It's just going to work out. You know what I mean? So think about it this way. I think this will kind of help y'all take the point that Casey just said. And for those of y'all that are live, like, can y'all say make sense? Like, we want to make sure that for y'all it's making sense, and for the people watching on replay that this is making sense. But I want you to think about it like this. I love to read, right? So I know some people are gonna be like, I don't like to read. Okay, so I like to read, right? And I have all kinds of books. I have books that are purely entertainment. I have books that are business. I have books that are whatever. I want to talk about one type of, certain types of books I have. So I have books on finances, right? So this is not gonna be boring, I promise you. Like, and one weird thought came to my head one time. So I was reading a book. It's by somebody that we know named Myron Golden. He's very successful. And I was reading it and I was like, man, he's literally telling you, and his story is basically that he was the book is called The Trash Man to the Cash Man. So we are not sponsoring the book, but if you want to go read it, it's a very well written book where he just shows you how he did it. And so basically he was a garbage man, and I think he was making $40,000 a year or less, which is not bad, right? And so basically he shows how he went in the early mid 90s. He went from like working for somebody as a garbage man and ultimately going out on his own, learning how to be a businessman, but also more importantly, before he got wealthy, because right now he's a multi-millionaire. But prior to getting there, he showed how he started to manage his money. He was like, hey, like when I was still making $40,000, this is how I managed my money. This is how I managed my income. This is how my wife and I did it. We lived off of 50%. Then we did that. And so he was showing you what he did. And he was like, I just followed that. And when I started making more, I still kept doing that, but it just built so well over time that now he's worth, tens of millions of dollars, right? And so why am I saying that? And why does that have to do with you getting into PT school? Well, it has everything to do with it. Because in my head, I'm always thinking to myself, wait a minute, that book is $19. That book is $19. Like as of right now, they have hundreds of thousands of copies that have been sold. So now the question is, why is it that only a fraction of those people will actually be successful from that book? It's the same concept. He could very well say, hey, listen, this book right here is the key to you learning how to manage your finances and ultimately building wealth for your family and the future generations, which it's true. Like if you took that book and just acted on it, it's the shiznit, and it's what he's done. And if someone's done something, it's gotta make sense to follow them, right? But in my head, it's like, how in the world is that thing being sold for $19, yet most people that read it don't get to the goal? It's not the fact that the book is bad, right? So let's bring it back here. These pre-PT grind guys are like saying, oh my gosh, you can get into PT school. Here's how to do it. They have roadmaps. They actually have a plan, right? It's called the accepted system. And if you want to be a part of that plan, just little, like commercial break, go to www.acceptancenavigator.com, watch the training, then we can get on a call. Cool, there. So basically, like there's a plan. It's proven, it works, right? For him, in his book, he has a plan. It's proven it worked. It's worked for him and it's worked for the people that have implemented it. The difference is the people that succeed with it actually take action on it. So whenever you guys hear us saying, like, don't listen to people that tell you that you can't get into PT school, like it's impossible or whatever. We don't believe in it being impossible. But don't also fall into the trap of hearing us say that it's possible and then becoming passive and thinking that you'll just coast right into that acceptance letter. It's like, oh, I feel motivated. Yo, 𝗄𝗵𝘁 and 𝗂𝗍 just said some life. They said some things that just make me feel like I can do it. So don't let that be an excuse to coast, right? Because that will also lead to you having a very difficult time getting into PT school. And that's the difference. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense? So here's the question for you guys tonight. This is not a long live stream. But this might be one of the most important messages that we have for 2020. Like we can teach y'all strategies, we can teach y'all a whole bunch of different stuff. But what we care about most is you ultimately getting to the other side and really taking part in this beautiful profession. Like PT is dope. It is dope, right? Like we want you to get there, but one, don't be so consumed by what most people say, which is it's impossible. I gotta load you. I mean, that's a whole bunch of BS. Like y'all already heard us say that many times. But also, don't be on the side of the people that listen to this message or us and then say, wow, because they've made me feel good about myself, because they've motivated me, that means that it's just gonna work out. I can just feel it. No, it doesn't work like that either. What that means is, what we're doing is just like that book, we're giving you the roadmap. We're saying, listen, this works. The question is, are you now willing to take ownership of the fact that you have to actually do the work? Are you willing to now take ownership of the fact that you have to start cutting out the excuses? Are you willing to take ownership of the fact that you now have to stop blaming other people? I have to stop blaming my professor. Oh my gosh, I didn't do well in that class. Oh, my physics professor was trash. That's why. I have to stop blaming my professor. Oh my gosh, my advisor. I mean, y'all already know, like we trash advisors all the time, basically because they've never been to PT school. But hey, I can't go and be like, my advisor is the reason why. No, you have to start taking ownership for yourself. So if you're part of that group that wants to say, hey, I actually, like, not only do I believe that anyone can get into PT school, but I want to act like it. I want to like act like it. I want to actually do the work. And the last thing I want to say is, for those of y'all that are live, write these 3 things down. Comment these 3 things below. I want to make sure that people that watch this afterwards are able to see it. There are 3 C's that if you want to be part of that group that says, hey, not only do I believe that anyone can get into PT school, but I'm ready to act like it. Here are the 3 C's that I want you to write down. The first one is clarity. Clarity. If I want to be part of that group, then what am I doing right now to get clear on what I need to do? Because one of the mistakes that we see is obviously the fact that students apply, to PT school and they really don't know what they're doing. They just kind of, we call it shooting in the dark. They're just kind of throwing it out there. It's like taking a ball, a meatball and just throwing it on the wall and hoping that it sticks. That's kind of what it is. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it leads to a lot of frustration. So clarity. Am I looking for clarity? Am I finding someone that can help me see things that I'm not seeing? My blind spot, right? So comment clarity below. The second C is confidence. Confidence. Am I working on building my confidence as a student? What does that mean? That means that my confidence might be getting shot by the fact that I'm comparing myself to other people. My confidence might be getting shot by the fact that, I'm looking at my past and I'm letting myself get so stuck in that. My confidence might be leading to a lot of unnecessary anxiety where I'm freaking out about things that have not happened yet, right? So confidence, like what am I doing to build up my confidence? Y'all, this today, as I was working and stuff like that, I woke up earlier today and spent an hour and a half listening to there's a certain podcast I've been listening to recently, and I was just listening to that as I was taking care of other stuff, because for me, I know that this is important to protect my mind, right? And if you're not doing that, if you're not finding ways to either block things that are draining you and taking away from you, or finding ways to fill what's in here, then it's going to be difficult for you to have confidence. It's going to show. It's going to show when you're writing your essay. It's going to show when you show up for your interview. You're not even going to feel like yourself. You're going to show up like a skeleton version of you, right? And so that's the second thing. So comment confidence in the comments below, because I want the people to watch this afterwards to see it. And then the last one is control. Control. What am I doing to take control of this? If I were to use the same example that I just gave you guys of the book, it's like with finances, the clarity I got, I already know what to do, right? The confidence should come from the fact that it's worked for him and other people and all. I just got to, cut out the BS from everywhere else. And then control is how do I get myself into the position where I can actually drive this train? And as students, I really just don't think most of us, whether you've heard us say it before, I just don't think most of us actually genuinely believe that we have the ability to control a lot of the application process. And I'm not talking about plugging in stuff to PT Cast. That's not applying. That's just the little exclamation mark. You applying starts the moment you're a freshman in college. Applying is the way you live your whole journey. That's the application process. It's not when PT Cast opens up and then once I submit, it's over. Nah, come on now. Don't fall for that. So control is am I learning how to control the things that I can? Am I learning how to understand as much of the process as I can? Do I understand what's going on the other side? Do I understand the school? And if I don't, who can give me that? Where can I find that? Right? And once you guys start doing that, once you guys start putting yourself in that position, then that statement that we said that anyone can get into physical therapy school starts to become true for you. Notice we didn't say, oh, only people with high GPAs, only people that have, never gotten rejected. We didn't say that because that's BS, right? We've just seen so much of the impossible scenarios of students that ultimately get into PT school that for us, we don't even, if anyone leads you to believe that, they don't know what they're talking about, right? But you have to be able to say, I need to do the thing. I need to take the reins. I need to find clarity. I need to find direction. I need to find someone that can actually help me do it. And if you know someone that can do that, great. If you don't, I mean, we can help you do that. You know what I mean? And like, put that link in the comments again, like www.acceptancenavigator.com. I know somebody's gonna need that tonight. Like, I already know somebody's gonna need that tonight. But when you do that, man, you put yourself in such a powerful position as a pre-PT. And that's what we want for you guys. So whenever y'all hear us say anyone can get into PT school, please don't assume that it's some statement of osmosis that the more you listen to us, it'll just happen. No, listen, we'll give y'all direction and all that stuff, and all, but yo, you have to be willing to say, I'm willing to step into that, and whatever that looks like, I'm willing to do it. Does that make sense, y'all? If that makes sense, can y'all heart it up real quick? Like, let me see some hearts real quick. Like, if that makes sense, heart it up real quick, because I want to make sure that y'all are in a position to really just dominate this whole journey, man. But Casey, before we wrap it up, man, any other thoughts, bro?
The main thing you were talking about is action or execution. So I think you guys can hopefully put that into action tonight or tomorrow or whenever you're listening to this on video or on podcast. Maybe your action or your execution, it doesn't, maybe for some it doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it just has to start with, hey, I'm going to the acceptancenavigator.com and I need to get clear. One of the C's Joseph talked about. Maybe it's, hey, I need to open up a Google document and start working on my essay. Maybe it's, oh, maybe I need to start working on a spreadsheet or download Pre-PT Grind's GPA data report from one of their Instagram links and start researching my schools. The execution, let's not make it some grand old thing. The action, let's not make it some grand old thing. The C's that Joseph talked about is, let's take it from, oh, it's this big thing that I will do someday and somehow, some way do it. And let's bring it back down and work in the dirt and say, okay, let me put this into action so I can be in that 1%, or I can be that fill in the blank that I was talking about earlier, to be one of those people that get into PT school. So let's execute, however small or big it is for you, and then you'll be on the right path. So that's really it.
That's it, man. I hope that was helpful, y'all. If you know a friend that needs to hear this message, man, tag them, because we really do believe and know for a fact that anyone can get into PT school, but the choice has to be yours as to whether you want to take over, as to whether you want to take ownership of that, as to whether you really want to make it happen. I mean, like, we can't do it for you. So you have to be willing to do that. And if you do that, man, it's going to be such a beautiful conclusion to your story. So that's it. Y'all have a blessed one. Have an amazing rest of your Thursday. Hope that helped. Much love, y'all.